位观众您好，欢迎收看联合报系愿景工程饮食革命的特别报道，我是蒋宗玉。在今天的节目当中，我们特别邀请到了美国的知名主厨，同时也是翻转餐桌、推动校园饮食革命的推手。让我们欢迎的是 Chef Ann Cooper。
Hi.
Hi, Cooper Ann. Nice to have you here.
Really nice to be here.
Yeah, I know this is your first time to come to Taiwan.
It is.
Yeah, but actually in the States, you have been named as a renegade lunch lady, especially in schools in the States.
It's true.
Yeah, as we know, the Celebrate project has been launched in Boulder City for more than 60 years. Can you please tell us about the project and how the idea started in the first time?
So the project is really feeding kids the best, healthiest food every day in school. This includes cooking with kids, gardens in schools, really starting to show kids what really good food is and getting them to eat it. And the project got started actually 15 years ago when I was in my first school in New York. And then after I was there for a few years, I went to California and I was in a school district there for 5 years, and then I got to Boulder. So it's been going on for 15 years.
Wow, it took a long time to launch the project. But before the project became successful, have you encountered any difficulties in setting up the project? Any barriers?
Yes, there's been a lot of barriers to this kind of work. When I first started in a public school district in Berkeley, the kids didn't really like the food and they were throwing it away, and many of the parents were saying, "Why are you doing this? You know, my kids like our food just fine." And when I got to Boulder in Colorado, we had a lot of the same type of barriers. So it's really about getting kids to eat the better food.
Okay, so can you explain some examples why they don't want to eat the food?
You know, in the United States, there's so much money spent on marketing bad food to kids, junk food. 17 to $20 billion a year spent, you know, marketing fast food and junk food, McDonald's and Burger King and all of that. So when kids who are used to high fat, high salt, high sugar food, all of a sudden you want to feed them salad and broccoli. Sometimes it's not so easy.
Okay, let's put it in this way. Let's check the project launched in Boulder City. 我们现在先来看一下呢，安主厨他在 Boulder City 这个地方所实施的饮食革命计划。
Fruit and pickles are not a salad bar. You need a piece of fruit or salad. Can I grab an apple? You may grab an apple.
老师协助把关，确保每位学童营养均衡。餐厅墙壁贴满了海报，提醒孩童午餐必须包含谷物、蛋白质、蔬菜、水果及牛奶5大成分。这里是美国科罗拉多州的凯西中学。
Here, these are all potatoes.
厨房里忙进忙出的是知名主厨 Ann Cooper。
In 1999, I got a call and got asked to take over a school in New York. And originally, I just looked at the phone and went, "What? Me lunch lady? No way." But they called me back. I got over myself and decided that everything I'd done was really leading me down this road to how do we feed kids better.
一通电话 ，Ann Cooper 从过去在高级餐厅服务上流人士，现在转变成一间扛起美国博德市52所中小学生营养午餐的校园饮食革命家。
When I first started, the USDA, United States Department of Agriculture, really had guidelines that were so low that chicken nuggets, tater tots, chocolate milk with high fructose corn syrup, and canned fruit cocktail would be an allowable lunch.
进到校园才发现学校午餐的把关有多么松散。Ann Cooper 其中一个计划就是希望让所有的学生都可以吃到新鲜的蔬菜，因此像是我现在所在的这个城市 Boulder， 在所有的中小学都有像这样子的沙拉吧。新鲜蔬果进校园，获得美国第一夫人蜜雪儿大力支持，至今已经在全美校园成功设置2万个沙拉吧。
I like that. There's a lot of variety. Also, if you're like vegetarian or something, you can get something different or whatever.
My favorite from the salad bar is probably the fruit, cause it's like really juicy, like it just came from the farm.
When kids change what they eat in schools, they'll go home and ask for items at home like they had at school, and if the school food is healthy, then the kids are going to start eating healthier at home.
对 Ann Cooper 而言，改革校园饮食关乎社会正义，因为学校午餐可能是弱势孩童摄取营养的唯一管道。身为厨师，保卫下一代的健康，则 责无旁贷。
That's really interesting. Yeah, and as we know, you also argue that school lunch is a social justice issue. Can you please tell us what's the reason for choosing school as a first choice to launch a project?
You know, I really feel like if we want to change how people eat at every age, we need to start it with the youngest kids. So if we can get kindergarten kids and first grade and second grade, really young kids, to taste better food and understand better food and think about better food, then they'll grow up eating better food and teach their kids. So I really think that's where we should be starting.
But school cafeterias offer children the opportunity to learn good eating habits. But how can we ensure children eat healthily outside of school?
You know, if we get kids to choose healthy in school, and then they bring those choices home to the family, slowly but surely the family will change. And we've seen that all over the United States.
So that's really interesting. But let's just talk about the Ann Foundation that you built up. Had just launched a campaign, Real School Food, which is supported by the actor, just like Anthony Rivera, and the school lunch advocate Alice Water and the chef Jamie Oliver. What is the purpose of the campaign for for food revolution?
So Real School Food campaign, hashtag Real School Food, is about getting the word out. It's a social media campaign, and we've had thousands and thousands and thousands of people sign on to it. And it's mostly educational and it's mostly social, just to get people aware, thinking about real school food, why we should care about real school food, and getting people to support the work we do.
So got how many fans on the social network so far?
You know, I don't know exactly, but I think maybe 50 or 60,000 people have liked it so far.
So you just try to tell us the concepts of food revolution on the social media. But we would like to know, have you encountered any challenges to build this up?
You know, on the Real School Food campaign, we really haven't had any challenges. But in general, all the challenges around school lunch are many. So there's 5 big challenges. Food, where are we going to get it? Finances, how do we pay for it? Facilities, how do we build the kitchens? Human resources, how do we teach our people to cook again because they've been using highly processed food for so long? And finally, marketing and education, how do we get the kids to eat it? So those are the big challenges.
So how have you overcome them?
Well, we've done a lot of work on procurement, trying to figure out how to buy the right food. We've been lobbying the government to give us more money. The government has just allocated money to help rebuild kitchens. Not enough, but it's a start. In the last reauthorization of the National School Lunch Act, there's a provision where you have to train your staff. So that's the human resources piece. And we're working with groups all around the country to try and get kids to eat better food through farm-to-school programs, through our program, gardens, and cooking classes.
How long does it take you try to train them, but also the project launch?
So there's a couple of different parts to the training. So to train the staff, you can do that in pieces. And so that might just take a few months. To really change kids, it depends where they start, but that can take a couple of years. So in our program in Boulder, the amount of kids that have started eating in our program has gone up over 15% in just a couple of years. So over time, it really makes a difference.
And we can see that as you propose, food without chemicals or pesticides is essential. What are your thoughts about the chemical fertilizers?
I think we should get rid of chemical fertilizers. I really don't believe we need them. I think that if we segue to organic practices, put money into research around organic growing, that we can produce plenty of food that's much healthier for our kids and ourselves.
So does it work in the States so far?
You know, it's a very small percentage. The amount of organic produce produced in our country is less than 3%. So it's a small percentage. However, it's growing and more people are caring, and yes, I think it's going to succeed.
When it comes to food with chemicals, such as DDT or something more serious, how are things going in the States right now?
Slowly. However, we are seeing more work being done by the USDA, United States Department of Agriculture, and the FDA. And both of them are starting to think more about the chemicals in our food, and we're seeing more chemicals actually banned in our food. So slowly, but it's happening.
It's happening. So does the USDA try to intervene to try to solve the problem?
Yes, but it's very political. The United States is very political, and a lot of what goes on goes very, very slowly. But yes, I think they're making a lot of efforts, especially around school food. We've seen a lot of efforts being made to make sure kids get healthier food in schools.
Yeah, I think we have the same problem and situation in Taiwan as well. But how do you try to just try to communicate with the USDA? Do they really try to take some policies that they've tried to solve the problem, just like food with chemicals?
The USDA really, especially around school food, has made tremendous headway. They passed the last child nutrition reauthorization around school food in 2010, and they really put a lot of guidelines in place: smarter snacks, healthier food, whole grains, fresh fruits and vegetables at every meal. So they've really made a lot of headway. And even added trans fats is being banned in the United States. So it's slowly, but I see a lot of positive direction.
But do they have any guidelines for you to do the school lunches?
The USDA has a lot of guidelines. The school lunches are have a lot of guidelines. So for instance, I have to serve, they tell me what I have to serve and how much, that I have to serve protein and whole grain and fruit and vegetable and milk. They tell me what the serving sizes are, the maximum calorie counts. So there's a lot of guidelines, heavily regulated.
So it seems a bit difficult to follow the guidelines. Do you encounter any difficulties to follow the guidelines?
I don't have any trouble following the guidelines, or very little. But a lot of school districts are kind of pushing back and say the guidelines are too strong, that we should weaken them a little bit, or that we shouldn't have only whole grains, or that we shouldn't make kids eat fruits and vegetables. But I don't agree with that at all. I believe the USDA is doing the right work. I believe we should feed kids fruits and vegetables every day. I believe the grains should be whole grains. And I think we're on a path to healthier kids. And I think Michelle Obama has really helped. She's been a great cheerleader and promoter of healthy food for kids.
So how do you think healthy food is supposed to be natural, even organic?
Yes, I think healthy food should be chemical-free, without pesticides, herbicides, high fructose corn syrup, trans fats, dyes, chemicals. We need to get it all out of the food and feed kids and ourselves and adults just real food.
What's your target for put the organic food into practice for school lunch?
Well, in our school district in Boulder, depending on the item, we have a very low percentage of organic. But if it was up to me, we'd be almost exclusively organic or natural.
Okay, we'll have a short break. 我们先休息一下，稍后回到节目当中。